Hi, welcome to the channel. I've been thinking about retiring. My original plan was to retire at 65, and recently I've been thinking about whether or not that is the right age to retire. A lot of things going on in my life, and a lot of things going on in the country at the moment. Lots of instability in terms of, particularly I think in terms of retirement. Government seem to have a load of plans to sort of change pension rules, pension ages, and things like that. And gets a little bit frustrating, I suppose, because you're trying to plan your retirement. And I think what everybody wants from, when they're planning to retire is a little bit of stability. So you know where you stand, you know what to expect, but it just seems, particularly over the last 10 years, that there's constant changes, constant fiddling around with pension rules and the various things that that they want to do in terms of trying to save money, and of course, it just leaves people stuck in terms of, what's going to happen in the next year, what's going to happen in the next 5 years, what's going to happen in the next 10 years. Now, I am going to be 64 towards the end of this year. And like I said, I intended to retire at 65. I was never going to go beyond 65. 2016, the government decided to raise the pension age to 67. So with less than 10 years left to when I thought I was going to be retiring, all of a sudden, we've got another 2 years added on to that time frame. So I'm now left with the dilemma of, should I carry on working until I'm 67? Should I stick to my original retirement plan of 65? Or should I even consider retiring earlier? Like I said, I'm 64 towards the end of this year, which means I've got a 3-year gap that I need to fund between 2025 and 2028. So that is quite a significant gap, and quite a different change to my plans. So I've come across a bit of a dilemma, and I'm wondering what to do. I think I'm a little bit of a prevaricator. I don't know if that affects lots of other people when they're looking at retirement. I suppose the main factors that people look at when they're considering retirement is actually, can I afford to retire? I think that's the biggest issue for most people. And certainly it's a factor that I've got to take into consideration. I think I'm probably lucky in as much as I've been able to save into an organisation pension. Again, I think I'm lucky because for most of my working life, I've worked for organisations that automatically pay into a pension, and I paid a proportion of my salary into those pensions. And I wonder, I worry for future generations that that's not going to be available to them. Obviously, government's introduced the workplace pension, and that's been a start, but that's been going for 15 years. So I don't know how effective that's going to be. And of course, if you look forward further into the future, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whether or not there'll be a state pension as we understand it today, whether that will even be available to people. So my prevarication has been, I suppose, based on finances. Have I got enough? And now, if I'm thinking of retiring a little bit earlier, can I fund that gap between now and state pension age? So a little bit of prevarication. Something recently happened in my workplace. Some changes were being made, more demands being placed on me, and it always seems nothing ever reduces. Everything is always do a little bit more, do a little bit more. And I sort of got to the stage where I'm thinking, should I be bothered with all of this? So on top of the financial aspects, it's really about, I think, am I prepared to continue to do the 9 to 5, with the constant demands and increasing demands. So that's where I am at the moment, and I found it to be quite a dilemma, to be perfectly honest. And I'm certainly leaning, especially with what the government are doing currently. I have to say that I don't know if any of you feel the same, but it's quite frustrating, I think, to hear all of the things being bandied about: new policies, tax rises, changes to inheritance tax, and all of those types of things. And you just think, what am I going to end up being left with? And I suppose another aspect of planning for retirement, considering retirement, is about the amount of time that you have left in retirement. So there was some statistics. I'll put them in the comments below. But there were some statistics that were collected by the Office of National Statistics, and they identified that the average healthy age is 61 and a half. So that indicates that after 61 and a half, that this was for men in England. There are slightly different statistics for Wales and Scotland and for women. But if we take the case of a male in England, and healthy life expectancy is, or having a healthy life, is 61 and a half, which indicates that after 61 and a half is when, in general, people start to have more health conditions, more serious health conditions, and the average healthy life after that without major health conditions is 10 and a half years. So that sort of takes you up to around about 72. And I was considering this and thinking, okay, well, I'm 64 at the end of the year, and if I continue to work, I'm losing healthy lifestyle time, which means that all those things that you might want to do or might have planned, or your aspirations for retirement, you've got a limited time to be able to do that. Now, if I retire in a year's time, which I was certainly considering, I'd set myself a sort of a financial target, and I've been paying more money into my company pension to try and boost that up, and then sort of planning based on that figure, how long into retirement that would last. And of course, if you start taking 2 years or 3 years off of the time that you've calculated that your company pension will last, then obviously it makes a big dent in your plans. But nevertheless, I still feel that I need to make a decision. I really do. I don't say I've had enough of work. I enjoy what I do, but I find that it's getting harder to enjoy what I do. So I'm coming to these decisions and seeing what comes next. Health and well-being has got to be a major consideration, and time left to enjoy some of the hobbies, maybe some of the trips that might want to take. I want to be able to enjoy a period of my life where I'm able to do some things that I want to do, rather than being dictated by a job. So yeah, it's an interesting dilemma, and it's one that I feel that I'm being forced into making a decision earlier than I wanted to or expected to. I've had some health problems over the last 4 years, which is interesting when you consider the ONS stats. And I was reading some information about, I think the media sort of look at 3 phases of retirement. And like everything, they like to label everything nowadays. They call them the go-go years, where you're still fit and healthy enough to play some sports, enjoy your hobbies, maybe go traveling, and what have you. And then you've got the go slow years, where your health is not so good, you don't have as much energy, and you start to slow down a little bit, and maybe are not able to enjoy all of those different things that you might have enjoyed. You might have to sort of reassess what hobbies you have, and the types of things that you do. And then the final phase of retirement is known as the no-go phase, when people are suffering from various ailments and more serious health conditions, will be more reliant on care, and so those are the three phases. And it occurred to me that the majority of the joy and making memories is going to come in the go-go phase, and nobody knows how long that go-go phase is actually going to be available for them as an individual. It could be a year, something could happen. It could be 10 years, it could be 15 years. But the longer that I wait to actually retire, the shorter that go-go phase is going to be. And as I've already had a few health problems, then I've really got to consider that, haven't I, in terms of what I'm going to do next, and how I want to live my life for the next 15, 20 years, and the things I want to do, It's quite strange, isn't it? You have a working life. I mean, I've been working 50 years, 50 years. Yeah. 50 years, 48 years. So that's a long time, and it's almost like you get conditioned into going to work, paying the bills. So I suppose part of my prevarication is about that change, the change in not just lifestyle, but the change in your way of life. You've got used to doing certain things, having certain disciplines, and the structure, I suppose, of work, plus, of course, the pay packet at the end of the month, and knowing what that's going to be, and having that sort of financial stability. And then you move into retirement where that stability is not necessarily there, that structure is not there. Now, I'm not worried. I've got lots and lots of interests and lots of things that I want to do and things I want to experiment with. So in terms of getting bored, I don't have any worries at all. To be honest, the very fact that I'm considering retiring early means that my financial planning over the years is sound. So it's really, I suppose, that a fear of change, and I don't think I'm unique in worrying about change. I think everybody worries about change. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear your comments and sort of what concerns and fears that you might have as you approach retirement. I mean, my intention with this channel is to document my personal journey to retirement and beyond, and really to see how things change, to be able to express my thoughts about the process, the barriers that you face, the concerns that you face, and hopefully people will engage with the topic and be interested in discussing some of these really, really key issues that I think obviously face everybody as they get older, and the concerns that they might have. So I'd like to say that I'm going to finish for today, but I'd like to say, like all YouTubers do, if you've enjoyed this video and you want me to make more, then please hit the like and subscribe button. Remember that subscribing to a YouTube channel doesn't involve any cost. You don't have to spend any money. It's just to support the creator and to continue having access to their videos. So I'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to the video. Yeah, I'll see you for the next video. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay informed. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.